Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
We are staying with the China Galwan Pangong story, but in a different way. We are going behind that story. Today is important because our two respective corps commanders are meeting. This is the follow-up meeting after the June 6 meeting. As we have more details of that, maybe we'll talk about it in the course of time. But today I am taking a more unconventional view to cut the clutter. Usually for cut the clutter, I lift the layers, you share a lot of facts with you, simplify them and occasionally use a little bit of opinion. Today I might pepper it with a little more opinion, and when you hear it, you will figure out what my motive is, and do let me know what you thought of this approach today or this episode of Cut the Clutter. So what do I mean when I say I am getting behind this Ladakh story? Because Ladakh story is cluttered enough, but still Ladakh story is a tactical story, it's a military story. What I am trying to get into today is a story of history and our collective psychology, because in any warfare, psychological aspects are much more important than weaponry or even people, because people are run by their minds. So psychology, and all armies use psychological warfare. If I remember, as a teenager in 1971 war, General then Sam Manekshaw, he had printed out literally millions of handbills signed by himself carrying his signature, which Indian Air Force airdropped all over East Pakistan, particularly over Pakistani cantonments, saying, "This is, I am Sam Manekshaw, I am the Chief of Army Staff, I am guaranteeing to you that you will be safe as prisoners, you will be given your dignity, you will be looked after, so surrender." And when the surrender happened, this you saw was a big factor. There was psychological warfare. There was also at one point when the Indian Air Force MiGs went into Dhaka and fired a couple of rockets through the building in which the governor of East Pakistan was living then. Immediately after that, the governor lost his nerve. So the idea was not to kill him. The idea was psychological warfare. So one was just using paper. The second was using rockets but not to hurt anybody. Now, today's psychological warfare is played very differently. Today, because a lot of media is available, a lot of electronics are available, and also a lot of social media is available. So countries, armies also use all these methods for psychological warfare. So over the past 3-4 days, we've seen a lot of psychological warfare coming at us, essentially from the Chinese side. There are some Chinese editors or supposedly editors, some Chinese official publications who keep threatening or who keep basically saying that if you take pangas with China, you don't know what will happen, we are much stronger. There are pictures of Chinese soldiers with some machine guns and some with tanks, etc., etc. But there are also some handles, Twitter handles, that look like they are genuine, but then as you investigate them more, they unravel. But these then put out claims of casualties, Indian casualties and Chinese casualties. One, for example, said Chinese casualties are just 5 wounded and nobody killed. And it so happened, it was so convincingly done for a lot of people that a lot of people in India immediately shared it. In fact, when I saw it, within 3 hours, it had several hundred retweets and maybe a couple of thousand likes, because we are also living in a polarized environment. So people think, देखा सरकार को सबक सिखाया. Anyway, I am not getting into the politics of this. Now, if you check out that handle, you will find that that has no head or tail. Uska na sir hai, na pair hai. Because as you go down, you will find adulatory posts about every Chinese general who is serving in the PLA Western Command. Western Command is directed towards India. One of them is a great expert at martial arts. Fantastic. Another one is a great expert at mountain warfare. Even more fantastic. What do you expect if not a mountain warfare specialist in the PLA Western Command? But as you go down, you can see it's purely a psychological warfare instrument, that handle. And then many more also emerged like that. In fact, I spoke about that and I said this is a cheap cyber handle. They also posted a video which they said that video showed that Indian officers and soldiers who had been captured or detained by the Chinese were being treated in a hyperbaric chamber which gives you oxygen to cure them or treat them for high altitude sickness. Now, first of all, soldiers are quite fit that are there, Indian soldiers, but once again this looked quite pat, so this required immediate checking, and immediate checking showed that this was actually a 2017 video of Honduran soldiers whose uniform looks a little bit like the same kind of OG camouflage that the Indian Army uniform, and this was at a joint exercise that the Chinese PLA had carried out with the Honduran army. So that made it quite clear that this was a propaganda handle, and then you saw a lot of this propaganda come in. In a lot of that propaganda, the talk was about 1962, because what is it the Chinese use when they want to psych out India? They use 1962 because everybody knows that there was a war in 1962 between India and China that India lost. It was 60 years back. Nevertheless, the surprising thing is how too many of us even now have that 1962 experience imprinted on our minds, and we start having visions of 1962 whenever the Chinese do it, because if that wasn't the case, then this completely crude and fake propaganda would not have found the kind of purchase it did in the Indian commentariat among intelligent people. So that is the surprising thing, but as I reflect on it, I find that 1962 is a deep scar that India hasn't healed yet, and India needs to heal that scar and move out of it, because 2020 is not 1962. We also said to you that Indian Army in 2020 is not the army of 1962. Similarly, nor is China's. China's defense budget now is 8 times bigger than India's. Still, this is not 1962, and what happened in 1962 also has to be understood better. So, a few points I want to make. Number one, that this Indian victim complex has to go, because the 1962 complex has stayed on with us, and somehow this belief that Indian soldiers are not properly equipped, Indian soldiers are not properly armed, Indian soldiers are not properly kitted out, that the other side has more sophisticated weapons already. We heard this in Kargil. Kargil, what the Pakistanis had were regular infantry weapons. What is sophisticated, less sophisticated or more sophisticated about an AK-47 or equivalent, or a normal machine gun or equivalent, or a normal artillery gun or equivalent? But somehow we have created this mindset that Indian soldiers are at a disadvantage, and if they do well in a battle, that is in spite of all these disadvantages. This is a scar of 1962 which needs to go. Today, there are lots of videos I have seen, I am sure many of you may have seen, because these are floating on WhatsApp and places, of Indian and Chinese soldiers jostling with each other. If you see those pictures, you know that Indian soldiers are kitted out, if anything, might be better than the Chinese soldier, and you can see Indian soldiers are quite fit. There is one video that's floating, apparently it looks like it's from Nakula, because in Sikkim, because from the terrain you can figure out it's flat ground and there is snow, and you can see that it's a Chinese soldiers who are short of breath and gasping for breath, whereas Indian soldiers are quite I would say spirited, and in fact happy also. While there is a lot of pushing and shoving, and Indian soldiers are giving the Chinese a tough time and pushing them back, and the Chinese are actually taking a bit of punishment, you can also overhear an Indian soldier saying, "Golgappe khayega kya?" And just to underline my point, I will take 10 seconds of your time and play just that 10-second clip from one of these videos, the Golgappa clip. Now once again, this is not this is not somebody insulting the other side. This is where you see the attitude of the Indian soldier. The Indian soldier is not Maragira Bukhananga. The Indian soldier stands tall and is having fun dealing with these guys. Having fun means तू मेरे इलाके में आया मैं तेरे को बताता हूँ गोलगप्पे खाएगा. So this is the spirit that we must imbibe.
मुंह देखना कोई नहीं गोलगप्पे खाएगा गोलगप्पे खाएगा गोलगप्पे खिला दिए ना.
So this tells you this is not a bhukha nanga bichara army. This is a tough army which knows how to get even. The army has no fear of the Chinese. We have to give up our fear of 1962. In fact, I will comment to you that you read an article by former Chief of Air Staff, Air Chief Marshal S. Krishnaswamy on the print.in. I am giving you a link with the description, who says precisely this, that don't keep talking about 1962. The Chinese are not 10 or 12 feet tall. Don't make them out to be like that. And Air Chief Marshal Krishnaswamy is not just any other Air Chief. He is one of our finest fighter pilots. He's seen combat in 1965 war, which was unequal for Indian Air Force. He was a rookie NAT pilot who tangled with Sabres and F-104s in one of the earliest engagements in the Chum sector. So please read what he's saying. Now there are many things that we need to know about 1962. One, this idea that we did not have sophisticated weapons. That's why anytime two terrorists are caught or killed, they say they were carrying sophisticated weapons. AK-47 is as old as I am. So it is not a sophisticated weapon, it's just a very effective weapon. I mean, this is said about many weapons, but you can say it about AK-47, that God made man, AK-47 made them equal. Or God made, these days you don't say man, human beings, and AK-47s made them equal. As say the IPKF or Indian Army realized in Sri Lanka when they went to fight there. So to say that this is sophisticated and what I have is crude or I am at a disadvantage is wrong. It does not serve the national cause. So if you look at 1962 and the 1962 mindset, put 1962 in perspective. That's what I am trying to do for you in the next 3 to 4 minutes. 1962, it was not as if Indian Army came up to war against Chinese Army and was defeated. There were 2 rounds of fighting, one in October of 1962, one in November of 1962. 2 short, sharp rounds of fighting. It's true that India fell back wherever the fighting was. But what was involved in that fighting was no more than about 3 brigades or 3.5 brigades of Indian Army. Maybe 4 brigades if you add other elements also. Bulk of the damage India suffered and bulk of the scar of defeat that we carry since then is about what was enacted in a place that was called NEFA then. Northeastern Frontier Agency, it's now called Arunachal Pradesh. That's where Indian defenses broke and the Chinese advanced very fast, and Indian defenses broke so badly that they could not even carry out an orderly retreat. So if you look at the figures of casualties, and I believe the Indian figures of casualties, because anybody who died fighting anything for India, his name is at the National War Memorial at India Gate. So it can't be that somebody died but his name is not there, because his family will then file a PIL or will call 20 media organizations. So if you look at India's figures in that war, it is 1383 dead. These figures were revealed by government, by the Ministry of Defence in 1965. 1383 dead, of which only 875 were killed in enemy action. The rest died because of elements, died because of frostbite, cold weather, bad conditions, getting injured, getting caught somewhere, not being able to survive. Also, many died of starvation because this was not an orderly retreat. So this was bad news. It wasn't good news what happened. But it's not as if the entire Indian Army got devastated. I also checked, I've read up some stuff. I also read up the stuff that Neville Maxwell, who infamously or famously wrote India's China War, he passed away some time back, not long ago in Australia. He also endorsed these figures, and in his figures also, he's talked of about 800 Chinese dead. That's all killed in action, and that is what the Chinese admitted not then. The Chinese never admit their casualties. Some papers were declassified in 1994 by the Chinese, which talked about nearly 800 dead on their side, although the estimates that our intelligence made and that the global agencies made were that they suffered much higher casualties, particularly in areas where Indian Army decided to stay put and fight. And there were areas like this in Nefa as well, or what is now Arunachal. For example, the Walong sector, the Indian units fought very well. So do not think of 1962 as completely one-sided, and do not exaggerate it. India's defeat in 1962 is a reality, but India's defeat in 1962 is not like Pakistan's defeat in 1971 and the surrender and then the division of the country, dismemberment of the country. There is nothing in comparison. So, at the same time, while we carry this scar of 1962 for some reason, the Pakistanis, in fact, I say something which is unconventional, learn from the Pakistanis. Look at the way the Pakistanis, in their own mindset, Pakistan's armed forces, Pakistan's national opinion has gotten over 1971. It is we on the Indian side who keep reminding them, as anybody should, because it is psychological warfare. But why is then China able to use 1962 for us as psychological warfare? Almost 85, I would say 90% people who are now living in India were born after 1962. So it does not help India to carry that scar and to let this damage our national morale and mindset. Yes, the Chinese had a bunch of prisoners, they had nearly 3,900 prisoners, but that's because that one division, the 4th division, then broke in Nefa area. 90% of India's casualties, Neville Maxwell also confirmed, were in that Arunachal area. In Ladakh, again where India was very heavily outnumbered and they were attacked by much more superior and larger forces, the troops still fought very well. They stood there, they fought well, inflicted a lot of casualties from the Chinese. In fact, even in Galwan, the post in Galwan was defended by 68 people of Jat regiment, headed by a Major Hassabnis. We talked about him in an earlier Cut the Clutter. 33 of them died fighting, 35 were taken prisoner, many of them wounded, including Major Hassabnis, and he came back and he spoke about it and wrote about it. His son, by the way, now is a Lieutenant General, serving Lieutenant General in the Indian Army, is Deputy Chief of Army Staff. So, Indian Army also has institutional memory of 62 and it has erased it from its minds. It has learnt its lessons. Even to say that this will not be like 1962 is an injustice, because that was just the capitulation of one division. And I will tell you one more thing. We remember Nehru, we remember Krishna Menon, we know the guilty men of 1962. But remember how was the division fighting? The commander, General B.M. Kaul, who was then a corps commander, he declared that he was sick, or maybe he was sick, that he had pneumonia. You don't mess with pneumonia. So he came to Delhi instead of being on the front leading his troops. He did not, if he came back and he wasn't well, it's not as if he asked for somebody to replace him. He said he will command the battle from Delhi. Think, if you are Indian soldiers in 1962, sitting in places you had never seen, never heard about, in very difficult circumstances, facing much larger numbers coming at you, and you are being told that your commander is actually sitting in Delhi, what happens? Two more commanders there, two more senior officers also left on one pretext or the other. There were inquiries after that, there were court martials after that. Only one honorable brigadier stayed back to fight and was killed in action. That was Brigadier Hoshiar Singh in Delhi, In fact, there is a road, it comes from Satyamarg, Chanakyapuri side and goes, it connects with the flyover by the side of Safdarjung Airport on Aurobindo Marg. That is named after Brigadier Hoshiar Singh. That was the Brigadier Hoshiar Singh who stayed back. Other senior officers fled. So this army was left then, or this division was left without senior officers. So in that confusion, a disorderly retreat took place, and that somehow has been internalized by us in India to mean that Indian army got vanquished by the Chinese army. That did not happen. One Indian division broke, that is all. So it's time for us to get over this and forget this. Now see what is happening in Ladakh and also see what's happening in South China Sea and other places. What's happening in Ladakh is jostling, as you say, in South China Sea, because Chinese are now pushing all their neighbors because they want space. They are saying they are doing local dadagiri, or what I believe in Kolkata is called, they are being padamastans, right? They are bullies. So bullies, somebody has to look them in the eye. If you look at all these videos coming out of Ladakh, I have not seen one video where Indian soldiers are not only not looking the Chinese in the eye, but giving it back to them in kind. So you can see the Indian soldier has no complex. Indian soldier has no thought of 1962. Otherwise, while pushing a senior Chinese officer, as you see in probably in Nakula in that video, he will not be saying Golgappe khayega kya? Because that is like, you are a bully, I can deal with you. So leave it to the soldiers, don't carry this complex, and for heaven's sake, don't fall for psychological warfare which is coming out of China. In fact, I told you, I'll tell you something juicy about that one handle. As more research was done on that handle, which put out that video of a hyperbaric room where soldiers in what looked like Indian Army's olive green fatigues were being given hyperbaric treatment, oxygen, were Honduran soldiers, and it was a 2017 video. That handle, now it looks like, is not even based in China, it's based in Pakistan. So it is maybe the ISI that was doing it, and because the ISI was doing it, they were so clumsy that they used a 2017 video which could be easily checked out. In fact, Alt News checked it out within the next few hours. So, and you will see those videos on our, those tweets on our screen. So don't buy into that mindset and don't buy into that psychological warfare. And then people are saying, again, the same handles and same psychological warriors are saying, oh, India should be careful. If they go to war now, their humiliation will be even greater than 1962. Why are they saying it? They are saying it because they want to psych you out. And remember, if you ever see one more of these videos or one more of these fake propaganda things saying that India is doing badly or Chinese soldiers are so much better or Indians did so badly, etc., 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 remember that line, Golgappe khayega kya? Huh? And I will just conclude by saying that at some point I will tell you more in more detail as we have more accurate detail on what happened at Galwan. But for heaven's sake, don't carry the 62 victim complex and start believing that this was a one-sided fight. This was not a one-sided fight by any stretch of imagination.